Hi everyone, nice to have you back with us tonight with On the Couch with Kelly. Tonight I have Karen Burge with me, and wow, I've learnt some amazing stuff here tonight just talking to Karen. But what we'll do is we'll start way back when, Karen, because we talk about people going through adversity, and just through our conversations we've spoken about what you went through as a child.
Yes.
And how you coped with that later on in life and how it reared its ugly head.
Yes.
So you were involved with sexual abuse from both sides of your family, did you say, at a young age?
Yes.
And how did that carry out with you as a young person, like as a teenager, or were you a teenager when it happened, or were you younger than a teenager, or?
No, it started in my early, as I can't remember the age, but it was around 5 until about I think 10 when my family moved away. And then in 2005 I started to realise the impact it was having in my life. I was running a lead light business, which I started from scratch. I wanted to work from home when my daughter started school, and she's the main instigator for all of my work. In 2005 I was stressed. My business was really stressful. I had 5 staff. I was doing party plans, supplying about 35 shops in Newcastle and Western Australia, Queensland, with my lead lights, and I was using alcohol as a recreational therapy to deal with my post-traumatic stress from my childhood.
So how did you know that that's what? How did you get to that stage that you knew that's what you were doing? Like anyone could, have a social drink, and how did you actually identify that it was beyond that? It was not just a social drink, that you were actually using it as a way of hiding things, and what made you think about that?
I think my daughter becoming a teenager, and I wanted to be a better influence. I thought, I don't want to be this example to her. I want better for her. I want her to know that this is not the answer. Alcohol is not the answer. So I closed the doors to my lead light business, and I found a spiritual school and become a spiritual teacher and a mentor. And I just wanted to heal myself and help people. That was the mission. I'm closing my business. I want to heal myself and help people.
So what sort of, you said you became a spiritual teacher. What sort of area was that in? Like what?
Okay, a spiritual centre at Cooranbong called the Harmony Centre, and they teach a path of ease and grace, which is about learning about your energy field and your thoughts. I also studied at Grace Grove College. I studied alchemy and spiritual wisdom. I learnt a lot there about the spiritual laws of cause and effect, and forgiveness and things like that. And
that would have been amazing, like learning the art of forgiveness.
Yeah, it's like, a biggie, and I had to do it at that to heal. I have to. It's an imperative part of healing and letting go, and it's I know that at the moment, through what I'm going through at the moment, it is, and there's a lot of people that are watching me that are going through trauma also from what we've witnessed in the last 12 months, and I know that forgiveness is, I believe that it is like holding on to a coal and expecting the other person to burn from it. It makes us sick, and it was an imperative part in my healing the trauma of my childhood, and I know that I'm working on that again now, and believe that every single thing that's happened to me in my life has made me who I am, and sometimes I mean, this crazy stuff's happening around me, and I think the best way to deal with it is just to go, I don't know. If we try and work it out, that's when we make mistakes, and I like to sit in this space of where, like, I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know why this is happening, but there's obviously a reason, and let it go. And when you let it go, that's when the answers come, and that's when you're able to feel light and free, because holding judgment and anger towards people is just, it hurts ourselves, and it's heavy, and it's imperative to healing and moving forward, I believe.
I mean, that's a pretty wonderful thing that you did, like, for your personal growth.
Yes.
But you've also taken that further, because then you've joined the Ubuntu community.
Yes. So yes, I started. So part of the healing journey, I went on to studying the spiritual in the spiritual school. Then a friend approached me and said that there was a need for a little community magazine with a directory for yoga and meditation and spiritual events. So I started a pup magazine called Wellbeing Guide, Spiritual Guide back then. It was a bi-monthly magazine. And then it changed it to Wellbeing Guide because I found that I wanted yoga and more well-being things in it. That was, I published that for 5 years. And then I moved into Hunter Street, Newcastle with a housemate by the name of BJ Footer, and he was the vice president of the hemp party. And he started to teach me about hemp. I started to learn about hemp, and I was just amazed at the benefits and the uses. And then, you know, sort of started rolling on from there. We went on to also learning about medicinal cannabis. And cannabis as a food, I don't see it as a drug. I just see it as a food. I consume it as food every day.
As hemp seeds?
Hemp seeds and...
Because a lot of people will be saying now that, and I know a lot of people that are not understanding of the whole situation, like they would be saying, oh, okay, well, they're just sitting around smoking drugs all day.
Yeah.
But it's not like
That's
that at
not
all.
like that
They're
at all.
actually, like, and I'm going to show you anyway because I've got some here. So this is hemp seed, and it's sold like this,
Yep.
and it's a nutritional food.
Yep.
Like, and it's yummy. It's quite yummy.
It's
like,
beautiful. It's the most nutrient-rich food known to man right now.
Okay, so, yeah, because I know there'll be this preconceived idea that people just do not understand, and it's up to, well, it's up to us tonight to maybe give them a little bit of an explanation
Yes.
about the whole scenario,
Yep.
and then we can talk about a particular young person that you've been working with.
Yes.
So we're talking about the cannabis community, or
Yes.
this community called, and what do you actually do here? What is it? Is it where you stand up for the rights of people wanting to legalise marijuana, or
Yep.
what is it like?
The basic way to explain what we do is we are advocates for cannabis, and with a desire to see all of Australians have affordable access to cannabis, and we believe it is our fundamental basic human right to eat this plant, to use this plant that was gifted to us. It was food and medicine for thousands of years before 1937, when it became a threat to multinational corporations and, as we're seeing now, big pharma, the pharmaceutical companies, because they want to take they want to give us a synthetic cannabis or an isolated compound. So they want to take a tiny little bit of the cannabis plant out of it and put it in a capsule and give it to our people. And I believe that, you know, nothing will ever be superior to natural medicine, to nature.
Absolutely, yeah.
No synthetic food or medicine will ever be superior to natural.
So the clients that come to you,
Yep.
what sort of ailments are you treating with the cannabis oil?
Every single condition has every single condition can benefit from cannabis. The reason for that is it actually works on it is a companion plant. It is made for us to consume. It actually works on a thing called our endocannabinoid system. So you can Google the endocannabinoid system, and I will give a YouTube playlist to. We'll add that onto this link. So the endocannabinoid system is our regulatory system. It governs our immune system, our endocrine system, our cardiovascular system, our metabolism. Its purpose is to achieve and maintain homeostasis, which is the perfect equilibrium in our body. So it will go in and fix what's out of balance. It's not a band-aid. It's not going to... but in saying that also, I believe that the people that get the best results are the ones that also use simple diet and lifestyle changes. So if we have disease growing in our body, then the best thing to do is reduce the toxins we're putting in and on our body. And I believe, and I have watched this hundreds of times, that it does slow down and stop and can reverse the effects of disease.
So how do people take it? Like, is it an oil that they take, or is it this hemp seeds that they take?
Yep.
Like, is that what you're producing here? Is the oil? Like, do you actually produce it? Where does it come from?
We have our
Or is that a question that I should know?
If
That's
I
a
told
question
you,
that
I'd
I'm
have
not
to-
allowed to ask.
So
okay,
we have
All right.
our
There are producers
there
out
are
there.
producers out there, and we do and it is organic cannabis, and and I can have a oil in the morning, CBD, and I have an oil at an evening, THC. I sometimes make cookies and have them as cookies, and I eat cookies.
So what's
helps me sleep.
THC and what's CB?
Okay, CBD is more an uplifting, just gives you a really good sense of well-being. It's anti-inflammatory. It's an anti. It's sort of like, it just helps every single condition, and it's the part of the cannabis that's not treated and heated, which once it's heated, it turns into it's become active in a THC. So the THC is the pain relief. The THC is the cancer, is proven, scientifically proven to fight cancer. Apparently, cannabis is the most researched plant in the world.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's comforting.
yeah, it is comforting. You'd think it would be available, and you know.
So why isn't it available?
What's
What's happening there? What is it? What's the law on it?
Oh, wow. They say it's legal, but it's very hard to get. There's only 25 doctors in Australia that are prescribing it. Their doctors are too scared to prescribe it. They don't understand it. Apparently it takes about 40 hours to fill in the paperwork, for a doctor to fill in their paperwork to get access to it for a client. So we find ourselves in the other cannabis communities around Australia, a lot of doctors and oncologists are just sending people to clinics such as ours.
So that's a lot easier for them.
Yes, yeah.
Isn't that sad to think that that's what's happening? I mean, it's good for you because, I mean, at least they have someone to go to.
Yes.
But obviously the government has made it incredibly hard
Yeah.
for doctors to do something about it.
Yes.
And you'd think that'd be the first place someone would go to if that's what they wanted to do. If they were looking for an alternative, they'd ask their doctor.
Yes.
But, you know, they've made it far too hard for anyone to do that. So how do they find someone like you? Like, how does someone out there watching this show tonight find this clinic?
We have a beautiful website, the Church of Ubuntu.
So let's spell that out, because there'll be a lot of people watching this and they'll be really interested and they'll want to know exactly who they contact. Now, so how do we spell that?
Church, normal word Church of Ubuntu. It's ubuntu.org.
Okay, so they can go to that.
Yep, there's lots of information about cannabis on there, and hemp seeds, the nutrient-rich value of hemp seeds. It's a protein, and I've done a little bit. The research on hemp seeds has shown me that the protein in meat, our body doesn't actually recognise it and digest it properly, but the protein in hemp is digestible because it's compatible. And you know, hemp is a mop-up crop, and it pulls toxins from your body like it does the earth. Now, I've another thing that I've overcome the last 18 months is achieving and maintaining my ideal weight for the first time in 30 years. You know, at the age of 16, I thought I was fat, so that started the yo-yo diet, then the comforting eating. So as soon as I added hemp seeds to my diet, I found that even though I'd done so much work over the years with alcohol, I still occasionally craved it. But once I started adding hemp seeds to my diet and my cannabis route, I stopped craving it all completely.
Wow.
Occasionally I'll have a glass of vodka, lime and soda when I go out, or I do, they've got these craft beers now, so occasionally they're quite nice, so I like to have a beer, or, but it's not the abuse that... And there is, you know, coming back to the doctors, there is an amazing doctor that has been an advocate for cannabis for over 20 years, Dr. Andrew Catalaris. I've been lucky enough to be working with him for the last 3 years. He is the most intelligent man that I know. He single-handedly applied for the laws to change around hemp seeds 3 times in the last 20 years. The last time it was rejected, but then 6 months later the government turned around and said, yep, we're legalising them. So I would like to pay credit to Dr. Andrew Catalaris. It is because of his dedication and love of this plant and our people that we have this plant available to us now. But in saying that, there's some sadness that is also carried with that. Dr. Andrew Catalaris is currently in jail.
And
yeah, he's
because of this situation.
Yes, because he was giving cannabis to children with epilepsy, with childhood epilepsy.
And we've heard so much great stuff about that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just amazing. Like, I have heard a lot of, and I've read a lot of situations where young people have been helped as a result of using the cannabis oil, like the difference between, having 40 seizures a day to having, 2 or 3.
Yep.
And, wow, that's just amazing. And while we're on that, like, of course, let's say thank you to, for him to do what he's been doing and really trying to help so many people out there. And it's sad that he's in jail. Like,
yeah, he's been in jail since the 5th of December, so he spent Christmas in there. And he's not a real religious man, but he does have a little grandson, and children are his life. Like, I've been to events where I'll go and talk, and there's been a child in the room sitting in front of me, so Andrew sat in front on the ground, and like, it was only about 30 people in the room, but like, he was sat there and talked to the people, but his passion is, and mine and BJ's has always been witnessing the benefits for children with epilepsy. I had a little boy by the age of 3 named Oscar, and he had 1,500 seizures this one day, and that's what he was having daily. His parents rang, and his mum was absolutely beside herself. Turned out she lived around the corner from BJ's son, so like, they got medicine within an hour. And the next day we rang, and he had 5 seizures. Went from 1,500 one day to 5 the next.
So how long was that happening for? How old was this child?
He was 3.
Wow.
So it started after his 4 months vaccination. So that was when it really kicked in.
And, dear.
And that's,
And do they still have the cannabis
yes,
oil? And still, and what are the results now?
I saw him on the weekend, and he's finally coming alive. It was the first time I saw him actually being conscious. He looked at me, and when you look at them, and a lot of the time they're not there. They're so tortured, the children with epilepsy, and it was after I witnessed that weekend, that was when I put my hand up for cannabis, for Oscar, for the children with epilepsy, and knew that and believed that every single person would have better quality of life if we had affordable access to cannabis.
Yes, and speaking of like seizures, and there's one little boy in particular that I've been following with your community, and can we talk about young Chase?
Yes, we can.
And what actually happened with him? Like, how did that all come? Well, let's just have a little bit of chat about him. He has a medical condition.
Yep. Also vax damaged. Though his parents aren't anti-vaccination, their oldest child is vaccinated. But once they seen, noticed with Chase, he was born normal. He straight away latched onto mum. He was going to town. He was so thirsty, suckling on his mum, and then
normal little baby,
and then they took him away, and then he came back and he just wouldn't latch on, and he started to have some respiratory issues and went downhill from there. Sino was hesitant to give him his 4 months vaccination because his system was so jeopardised, and she didn't want to cause any more damage. But she was nagged, and you have to do it, so she followed that, and then his health regressed again. And then the 12-month vaccination time come up, and she didn't want to do it again, but the doctor was nagging her. The doctor was also pressuring her mother and her partner, so they were also saying, you have to. So yeah, she went for the 12-month vaccination, and that's when Chase stopped laughing and smiling and communicating. He was on a cocktail of drugs. He was being all these trials that he was on of all these medications that weren't working. They were causing more harm than good. And then Sinai kept asking the doctors, can we try medical cannabis? And they're saying, no, it won't work for him. And then she was at an event where BJ, the church founder, president was, and I think he gave her some medicine, and then she just took it away, and yeah, we sort of hadn't had contact for a while, but they went home, and with Sinai, what she does is with every single...
Sinai's a mum.
Yeah, Sinai's the mum, and what she's done with all medications with Chase is she's actually taken them herself. Because he's non-verbal, he can't communicate and tell her what's happening, what side effects. She could only see the adverse side effects. So she tried every single medicine that he was on, and including when she started introducing cannabis, she actually took it herself, so she knew what effect it was having and how much she could give him and how much she couldn't. And also put him on hemp seeds, so his body was so jeopardised that he couldn't detox. So the whole world watched him improving because his body, was rested enough. I know that our body knows how to heal if we create the right environment. So that's what happened with Chase. And then they first came here in January. The last weekend just gone was the 12-month anniversary of the first time.
So the whole family?
The whole family. They turned up in the middle of the night. Because they'd started getting results. They were weaning Chase off the pharmaceutical medications, and they were starting to get results.
I've seen the footage of the difference
the whole
before and after. And I know that, I'm not advocating that everyone should just go out and go on cannabis oil. I'm not saying that at all, because, there are some situations that I have seen, that certain medical procedures have been what people have needed at that time. But in this particular instance, I have seen the footage of Chase prior and then after, and I just think there's such a remarkable difference. Yeah,
it was beautiful, and he was waving and smiling for the first time in 3 years. Smiling and laughing for the first time in 3 years. We all saw that on national TV on the Sunday program, and he started waving, and he was conscious of his surroundings.
So how old was he then?
4.
4.
So it was in January last year. So we supported the family. The Queensland services didn't like what Sinai and Mark were doing, so Mark being the father, so they wanted to take Chase. And we went it's Queensland Child Services.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. Because of what they were giving him, the cannabis oil.
Yeah, because they were taking him off the drugs because they were just causing an adverse effect, and they were watching their son. They were told at one stage, go home and prepare your son's funeral. There's nothing more we can do for him. So they've just gone, what? They've had to try this, and then, like I said, they saw results, and they didn't just go and use backyard medicine. They saw results. And they saw that the results were better, and he was starting to have a better quality of life. So they just kept pursuing it and working with it, and he became conscious of his surroundings. After the first weekend here in January, I kissed him goodbye in the car, and I said, I love you, and we're going to, save our children. And he said something to me, and I don't recall what it was. I think it was, I heard you, but we were all so shocked. Because we'd never heard him say a sentence. But I kissed him. I remember it out there, and everyone's just going, wow, what was that? And I believe now he probably would have said, I love you, because he's told every day, all day, every day, he was told that he is loved. And, even Andrew says that he could have survived just on love. He could be alive and thriving the way he was just because of the love. He was getting massages three times a day, all day.
He just looked a whole lot happier too,
didn't he? Was, yeah.
So what was the end result with that? Like, what happened there? I know they went on this Sunday program.
Yeah, and this Sunday program was a bit of a setup. It really made... people said, I didn't like the way Andrew was angry on the Sunday program. It made Andrew look like a really villain type thing, and it made Sinai and Mark look really bad too. It was disgusting, really, honestly disgusting. And you know, Andrew, you know, there was times when he had anger outbursts, but they used it in, they didn't put it in the right content, and you know, he like myself and BJ, we all get frustrated because we are the ones that were up at night, late at night. We had a support group for the families with children with epilepsy with 100 parents in them, and we were the ones up late at night talking to them, you know, comforting them, saying you're not alone.
And I mean, you know, like you as a parent, if you have a child that is unwell, you're willing to do anything to get them better.
Yeah.
So you're willing to try anything, and if something actually works, well, then you're going to try and continue that. But unfortunately, it's illegal.
Yeah. Yes.
So even though they've got the results, it's working, everything was happening wonderful, and then Child Services
stepped in. So we went to court 4 times between January and April last year. We flew to Queensland and supported the family in court and the judge said, the last judge, magistrate said that this child should not be poked and prodded anymore. He has had enough. The parents are dedicated, devoted. They should be, Queensland Services should be supporting them, and also should be supporting them financially. And that was in April, and that was, wow. Then the roller coaster started. So 4 judges said, no, leave this child. Do not poke and prod him anymore. Leave him. He's having better quality of life. He's evidently happy.
4 judges.
4 judges. I think it was the same judge 3 times, or 4 judges, but 4 court appearances between January and April. And then there was an email, I saw it, that Queensland Services said, too bad, we want him and we're going to keep trying. So then the family went to the hospital, Lady Salento Hospital, for a checkup that they'd been requesting, because Chase has a peg and they were worried about it. So they requested, please, they weren't addressing it for 18 months.
A peg, explain to the listeners.
Okay. A peg is a peg fed, so a peg tube that goes into his stomach. And so they were feeding him through that, and they were concerned about that it was, because he had a lot of gas, so they were concerned that it wasn't attached properly, and it hadn't been checked for a year and a half, so they really wanted that addressed and looked at. So they went to the hospital, and they could tell that it was a setup, because the woman was trying to admit Chase into the hospital, and Sinai's going, no, I've just come here for a routine checkup. And they said, and she could tell what was happening, so she got him and went to walk out, and the woman tried to block the door, and Sinai just pushed him out of the way and walked down the hospital. I walked past security guards. They rang us and just said, look, we want to come to Newcastle. We want to find another doctor that will give us a second opinion and help us to treat him the way we want to, the way we're getting success with. So they did that, and they drove overnight. They rang and said, we're coming, and they were so exhausted. So we said, please stop in Coffs Harbour overnight, and booked them a motel, but they were too distraught, and they just wanted to be here. This is like their safety. Yeah, they felt safe. The first time they came here in January, I had like the beautiful music playing upstairs of chants, and it was on repeat, so they slept in that for 3 days, and then they still play that music at night to sleep.
And it must be lovely to come somewhere where they know that what they're doing for their child is accepted.
Yes, yeah, and they felt really safe.
That's the big thing, because I know that if that was my child and things were working, I'd be doing that too. I'd be trying whatever I could.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure a lot of mums and dads out there would feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then they were here with you.
Yep. So,
and then
this was and then Queensland Lady Salento Hospital decided to put out an Amber Alert, which probably cost about $500,000. So a national alert across Australia, every TV station, every channel, big billboards in Queensland saying that a child was taken from Lady Salento Hospital with people that were known to him. So when the police turned up, a local business saw Sinai, because she went and bought fruit and fruit in a shop, and he reported her, and so the police
were they aware? They were aware that had happened.
Yes.
Yeah,
we learnt the next day. Like every time they'd come here and feel safe, then they'd walk away and they'd like, oh my God, you know, they'd come here and feel safe, and then the next day there was a phone call. Like the first time they got here, their mum rang Sinai's mum rang the next day saying, "Fax are here. Queensland Services are knocking on the door wanting to know where you are." And like they'd finally felt relief, and then they felt, so it was like a roller coaster up until the Amber Alert. So then the Amber Alert, we'd heard that the police were rang, so they were going to another house where they could stay and be safe, and we sort of got, they got onto that. There was 2 helicopters, about 10 police, 4 detectives and the dog squad. The whole street
just came here.
Yeah, the whole street. And the police, when they got Sinai, they didn't know that she was the mum. So they were, no judgment. They were doing what they were falsely misled. They didn't know that this was the mother of a child. And as soon as so
they think that she'd kidnapped him or something.
Yeah, like the Amber Alert said, person that was known to this child. So everyone thought that this child was kidnapped. Didn't know that it was in loving care of his parents. So when we went to the hospital. We got taken to the hospital. I went with them. The doctor said, "Look, if this was my child in my care, then I'd be happy for him to go home and treat him as an outpatient." But we also, she was also being bullied and harassed on the phone because she left us there for about an hour and a half, and by then it was about 9:30 at night, and we said, "Can we just go home?" Like, she's given us yep, everything's fine. If he was my child, if he was in my care, I would let him go home. And Sinai said, "Nah." She said, "Well, he is your child. I want you to be his doctor." So, but she still was getting really bullied. The doctor was really, really bullied.
So where are we now? Like,
okay,
where is it up to, like, to this day?
Okay,
so that police raid was...
that was... Yep, so end of November, that was April, then the 29th, so the doctor said, yep, everything was going fine. Then on the 19th of May, police came back here with 2 fax workers saying that Chase's potassium level was low. They used an outdated blood test that was 2 weeks prior, even though they had received a letter from the doctor that day from John Hunter, an email saying that Chase's blood was stabilised and his potassium wasn't low. Because the doctor said the potassium's low, just have some more coconut water and banana. So Sinai did, but they've turned up. So they falsely misled the police again. Another 8 police, 4 detectives, dog squad.
Dear, and this is all money and energy,
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And they're taking away resources from real stuff too.
Yep.
And it's just sad that it's. And I know we've gone over time, but I mean, I just find this just so incredibly
disturbing.
The story does need to get out there.
It does. And he's been living he's been kept in a motel with strangers for about, so we're going on 8 months, I think, in the next week since Chase was taken, and 6 months of those has been in a motel. And
so what do you mean in a motel? So fax, like, I just don't get this.
Hire a motel room and have carers that come and
look after him.
Yep.
Well, this is probably very similar to another story that I did a couple of weeks ago. With Melinda Ferguson. So, if you're interested in tonight's show and you haven't watched any of the other shows, watch the one about Melinda Ferguson. It happened the same thing with her granddaughter who has extreme disabilities. Yeah, so...
It's hard to fit into 30 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is hard to fit, but I'm just flabbergasted. So... the end result is now he is in a motel, looked after.
With carers.
Yeah.
He's back on the concoction of pharmaceutical drugs that previously caused adverse effects, so we are very concerned about his health. I have seen photographic evidence of his health regressed, and I know that after that I did a bit of research because I love him, and I feel it's my duty of care to protect the children and grandchildren in my world. So his health has severely regressed, the trauma of the night he was separated, his mum was handcuffed in front of him and dragged away while Dad was in the toilet screaming like a man that had been caught in a fire, and Chasey saw all that. So I do not think it's in his best interest to take him in the first place, let alone keep him separated from a loving, devoted family, and that we're trying to do the best. And so this year we've got Currently got 4 Supreme Court cases. All of our court cases were pushed into Supreme Court, so we'll have to fight it out in the court. Sinai and Mark they got paid for the Sunday program, but all of their money has been used in legal fees, so they will be defending themselves. And if it wasn't for us as a community that's helped them with their rent and food, they would have had to give up last year and just go home. So they've relocated to Newcastle, and we have an event on the Unite for Children's Rights on the 10th of February at Pacific Park in Newcastle, just a family gathering. And for me, for my cannabis and hemp education, I'm going to be touring Australia as a Cannabis. You know, I think it's really disturbing that we living in a society where sugar-coated donuts and food in supermarkets are seen as food safe for human consumption when it has, you know, little to no nutritional value, and while cannabis, the most nutrient-rich food source known to man right now, is withheld or not recognised for the benefits. Yeah.
So I'm just going to recap on everything because I'm just a bit flabbergasted right now with Chase. But because I interview people that have lived through adversity, and your part in life with adversity was you'd gone through child abuse, you'd gone through abuse with alcohol to try and get over that.
Yes.
You then tried to heal yourself.
Yeah.
And you studied and learnt all about that.
Yes.
You then got involved in a community that wants to help people.
I feel, yeah.
And
want to.
yes, and now, you know, the thing is, you have been positive.
Yeah.
You are positive.
Yeah.
From way back then, you've travelled so far to where you are now, and you're just doing so much good, so much beautiful stuff, and you're just so positive.
Yeah.
So I know that there'd be a lot of people out there tonight watching, and they'd be heart-filled too, and they now have the address and that they can contact you.
Yeah.
And we'll put a little bit in the comments section too where they can contact you.
Yeah.
So if there's someone out there and they're going through a similar situation, or they might be going through a health situation right now, and, you know, they might be at their wit's end and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you living the life that you've lived now, and you're just so healthy and wonderful, and you've pulled through everything, and you're now helping others to live a wonderful life. So what would be a message that you would like to leave for my viewers now? So there's a camera and the microphone over there. You just look at the camera.
Okay. I would encourage anyone that's aware of disease growing in their body. You've got the symptoms. Your body knows how is communicating with us all the time. So the best way to stop disease growing is to reduce the toxins you're putting in and on your body. So elimination diet, drinking good water. Tap water is full of heavy metals and fluoride. It is not good. It's not, you know, you can't put continually put toxins in a body and expect it to thrive, let alone survive. So, or survive, let alone thrive. So I would encourage that. Add hemp seeds to your diet. Like I said, it's a mop-up crop. I've achieved and lost, you know, maintained my ideal weight now from hemp seeds. I have a beautiful friend, Belinda Dooner, that's been living with us for the last 4 months. She was a nurse from Queensland, and we've asked her to come and help us. She was a bit lost, so we just gave her a place to come and be and hang out. She's like my medicine, and she's lost almost 30 kilos. She's almost her ideal weight, and she just says it's because it's hanging out with you, Kaz. Kazzy, she calls me. And yeah, honestly, I'm going to start doing talks, hemp health talks around Newcastle with the Cannabis Australia, but also in Newcastle. So
Cannabis, that's a great name.
It's great, hey. And yeah, and you know, talking about the benefits, and we'll do demonstrations with food and hemp milk smoothies, and show people how to also get a little Kickstart Your Health program that you can do to stop help with sugar addiction. And
which a lot of us have.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, a lot of us do have that.
Yeah, and it's definitely helped. The hemp seeds, adding hemp seeds to my diet has definitely helped with my sugar addiction. And if I eat sugar, I know, you know, I'll crave it. until I stop. So
Well, hopefully you'll get lots and lots and lots of emails
yeah,
and a few people commenting tonight.
yeah. And your health is your biggest asset, and the best way to treat disease, I believe, is to prevent it.
There you go. It's a great message. So, I mean, every week I thank some of the people that have tuned in. Obviously, I can't get there and thank every single one of you. But Beck Cassidy, thank you so much. Leah Jones, Kapika Wati, Tanya Lee Perry, thank you, Tanya Lee Perry, and Jai Mann, thank you, darling. That just happens to be my
That's
son.
right, I thought so.
God love him. Thank you, Kate Clulow, Jennifer Clark, Helen Hermer, Vicky Jane Streetfield, Kerry Ann Taylor, thank you. Debbie O'Donoghue, Georgina Harry, Charles Argent. Thank you, Charles. We did a story with his sister that she's with Joe Reese. So thank you, Charles, for continuing to watch our program each week. Shireen Lowe, thank you all the way from Brisbane. Thank you, darling, so much. Anthony Lee, thank you. Anthony Lee is our musical producer and currently writing our theme song for the show.
Oh, yes,
so thank you, Anthony. Reese Livermore, thank you. I've got to contact you, but thank you. Rhonda Galvin, Larry Lowe, thank you so much. Colleen Fuller, Colleen Warburton, Kimmy Young, Louise Birkins, Monica Gilbert, Jennifer Rowan, thank you, Jennifer. Leanne Rugg, thank you so much, Leanne. And Frank Day, thank you. He's convalescing right now from a major operation. So thank you, Frank Day. And no, you want to get in contact with these people for your recuperation.
You get hemp seeds in your diet.
Yeah, that's the way.
It's believed to be the best bowel cleanse on the planet. So get some hemp seeds in your diet and clean that shit out, I say.
So thank you, everyone. It's been wonderful again talking with you, Karen.
Yeah, thanks, Karen.
And I guess, one little message that I say each and every week is no matter what, don't give up.
Yeah.
Just don't give up. Know that everything is going to be okay and you are going to be okay. Yeah. So keep it up. Keep up the spirit. Stay strong. Don't give up and know you're going to be okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you.